In 1994, I was born into a white middle-class family. I have one brother, and I was raised in what some would call a nuclear family, meaning I had both parents in my home. Since I was born into that white middle-class family, I have come to identify myself as a woman who is Byzantine Catholic, heterosexual, and able-bodied. My understanding of these identities has developed throughout my life, but the ones most salient to me are my racial and gender identities. To understand my racial identity development, you first have to know about my hometown. Until I was 6, I lived in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. McKeesport was once a thriving city because of the steel industry. The industry brought people here from all walks of life and all around the world. After its collapse, the city's infrastructure suffered, and it hasn't ever really rebounded. So, as a child, I spent my days playing with kids in the neighborhood. Because of McKeesport's rich cultural history, kids all looked different. We spent our days making dance routines, playing kickball, and swinging on the swing set. At this age, I knew I was white, but I didn't realize the significance and what this really meant. When I was 6, I moved to White Oak, but still attended McKeesport Area School District. This meant that my classes were made up of that same diverse group of people. Elementary school is where I began to develop my gender identity. Until this point in my life, I had been dressing in baggy clothes, big t-shirts, and sweatpants, mostly so that I could keep up with my brother and play. But as I got older, I realized that this is not how other girls were dressing.
Like my mother says, when you're gonna live your life right. Oh, mother dear, we're not the fortunate ones, and girls, they wanna have fun. Oh,
so I started to dress differently, and it was during this time and through middle school that I realized what it meant to be a girl, and I started to define that in my own way. When I was in high school, my understanding of racial differences became clearer. I became more aware of comments made about McKeesport in general and how those comments were based on untrue stereotypes about poor people or people of color. Comments made by my family and friends made me realize that often people of color were judged unfairly. Since I wasn't the one making these comments, nor actively discriminating against people, I did not think I was contributing to the problem. I just had a better understanding of how our experiences were different based on the color of our skin. Nevertheless, I felt a strong connection with my graduating class and to my community. I am thankful that my environment exposed me to differences at a young age because it helped me to enter college with a better understanding of the world. As an engineering major, I was almost constantly aware of my gender in college. I chose Robert Morris University because of its small campus feel. Just like everywhere else, though, the engineering department was dominated by men. In fact, there were no full-time women faculty members during that first year. In that year especially, I always felt that I had to prove myself to both my professors and my male classmates. To keep my confidence, I joined the Society of Women Engineers and later joined the Women's Leadership and Mentorship Program to help guide another woman engineer. Through this and the connections I made, I became confident as a woman and persevered to graduation. Meanwhile, I had decided to go to grad school for higher education. During my senior spring semester, I chose to take a course in sociology of race and ethnicity. It was here that I learned about my white privilege for the first time. I started to understand how society was constructed to benefit white people. This understanding was furthered during my first semester in the higher education program at Pitt. When facilitating discussion around Robert Takaki's book, I made an inappropriate remark about Native American names, without thinking, and offended some people. My privilege enabled me to do that, and my perspective has now permanently changed. I am still continuing to work through my understanding of whiteness and white fragility, but I'm more eager than ever to learn about it. So after all that, I'm still the same person with the same identities, but I now have a better understanding of them, and I look forward to putting this to use as I find my place in the world.
Now